What is eating the world and how to fix it? It is our nurture, because our nature is to rise, invent, and explore. Every human being has the ability to rise to greatness, but false leaders, especially those who claim to be true, fear human greatness and the resulting clarity and vision and knowledge and wisdom. Denying education and burning books are clear examples of that fear, and you can see that in less developed nations. What is harder to see is when children are given the wrong books. It is so hard to see that you yourself have missed it. You think some of the titles that you have read in high school are classics, but they are quite the poison. They do not paint a picture of the great human being. They show a feeble and failable human, cursed with some sin or similar, ordered to serve or submit. Humans are not defined by their tragedies, however, real or manufactured. We are defined by our collective greatness, both in life by the choices that dictate our futures and by means of our lasting legacies. Take racism, for example. It is a psychological disorder born from severe poverty of mind. A person being so poor in their head that they hold up the very color of their skin as superior. A book about history of racism must come second to a book about human greatness, because it is only in greatness that a child can see the illness. Otherwise, it will be seen as some reality that happens sometimes. It is not a reality. To paint racism as something that just happens is an attack on the minds of the young. Propaganda. Our favorite Middle English story paints love as a path to sure death. Not just the main characters, but many others too. To pull a book out of Middle English and paint love as tragedy reveals not just fear, but fucking dread. To paint success as wealth and excess and turn it into a cautionary tale, instead of actually enabling students to rise with authentic and functional and meaningful knowledge, such as computer programming, is downright an insult. And to show how children will descend into tribalism if left without leaders that have all the answers. Now that is more than just propaganda. That is to defeat the future. Now, I know, this all sounds very conspiratorial. This is a result of propagating myths about humans. These popular books do have value on their own when encountered in a library on a shelf. They are a powerful, meaningful, colorful, and life-changing read. But to present them in school, to children who are learning about the world, instead of teaching them that to grow up means to grow all the way up until we each become a great human being, that is wrong. Completely, utterly wrong. Let's just call it bad nurture, because the words that come to my mind are too short. False leaders, even those who themselves are victims of ineffective education and are merely blindly propagating the horseshit that they've been spoon-fed, are actually incapable of leading human beings out of this trouble, out of this dark age. The pattern of chaining humanity down will continue unless normal, average teenagers take to reading powerful books. Not just reading, but also listening. Hearing a book is much more of a powerful experience than going over all the letters to put the words together. This is quite an emergency. Fake education, mandatory poverty on purpose, and warping of cultures is not how human beings are supposed to grow up. No, 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 no. We need better books, better education, and we need to pull each other out of this. I do not understand how libraries exist. It is a miracle. I once heard an atheist talk about inventing a church for those who don't even care to define themselves relative to theism or religion. And another one simply said, yeah, it's called the library. Yes. A trip to the library that helps us get at the narrated books that change our lives for better. Books held in high esteem by all the world's leading intellectuals that we can hear, relax to, and eventually inherit the culture from. Will make a world of difference, especially for young people. You see, the thing that is wrong with the world is that the cultures that we are born into are small. They are very small compared to the human superculture, where we are all one family, which is exactly what human beings are. The superculture contains only the good parts of all other cultures, and urgently aims to converge on world peace and a more intellectual and wiser mindset. That convergence will be marked by rejection of liars, pretenders, manipulators, and hustlers, and permanently so. They will never return to positions of power. They will not be seen as political candidates with great promises, but rather as aged children who are suffering from a growing up disorder. Once growing up is muddied and growing all the way up presented as optional, human beings lose the aim, the only aim there is, growing all the way up until we become great beings. Growing all the way up does justice to both our older selves and our fellow humans. Small-mindedness has us trapped in a cycle of wars and protests that end in a really dark place. Out of love for those who have lost their minds and lives out of their greatness. No argument against greatness can ever be made, not at all. Therefore, you are charged with growing all the way up until you become a great being. Inherit the culture of great beings from books. It's the only way.